I, 32 am not a confrontational person by nature. If anything, I've built my entire life around avoiding unnecessary conflict. At work, as a UI/UX designer, my job is literally smoothing over friction, finding ways to make complicated systems look effortless, clean, intuitive. I thought, naively, that if I applied that same philosophy to my personal life, I could engineer a kind of quiet happiness. For 3 years, I thought I had it. What I actually had was an occupation, my wallet, my home, my sanity, occupied by someone who looked like a partner but operated more like a parasite. That someone was Cassandra, 30. We dated for 3 years, lived together for 2 of those years, and during that time, I slowly ceased to be a boyfriend and became infrastructure. When we first met, Cassie was magnetic. That's the word that comes to mind. Not just beautiful, though she was, but compelling. She had that kind of energy that drew people in. Loud laugh, sharp wit, the ability to walk into a room and make herself the center of gravity. To someone like me, introverted, thoughtful, measured, she was intoxicating. She liked that I listened, that I didn't compete with her for attention, that I was, in her words, stable. Looking back, that should have been the first red flag. Stable wasn't a compliment. It was an assignment. When she moved into my condo, it felt like a natural next step. I had rented the place long before she was in the picture. 2 bedrooms, one my bedroom, one my office/hobby room. I paint miniatures, which Cassie immediately branded my dork dungeon. She laughed every time she said it, but the joke carried a serrated edge. We made what seemed like a fair deal. I made more money, so I'd cover rent and utilities. She would handle groceries and her own personal spending. That lasted about 2 weeks. Her card would mysteriously fail at the grocery store checkout, leaving me to swipe mine while she put on a sheepish smile. Ugh, I hate this bank. I'll Venmo you later. Spoiler, she rarely did. Her brunches with friends, her shoes, her trips, those became our expenses. She had a way of sighing dramatically, hinting, dragging her disappointment through the air like perfume until I gave in. Paying became less about generosity and more about survival. Cheaper than a fight, I told myself. I paid for what I thought was peace. What I was really funding was her contempt. Over time, her respect eroded like limestone and acid. My work, just another app for people to stare at. My hobbies? For nerdy little boys. My friends? Basic. She didn't see me as a partner. She saw me as scaffolding. Stable, boring, always there, always holding her up while she reached for something better. I became invisible in my own home. The end didn't arrive as a screaming match. It slid across the dinner table one Thursday night, disguised as a glossy travel brochure. A 10-day trip to Europe, her and her best friend, Megan. Price tag, about $8,000 each. Isn't it perfect? She beamed. It looks amazing, Cass, I said carefully. How are you funding it? Her smile faltered. Well, Megan's parents are helping her, and I was thinking, that bonus you got. I set my fork down. Cassie, that bonus paid off my student loans. It's gone. But you have savings, she insisted. You're always hiding money away for your little plastic army man. What's the point of having it if you don't live? And then it started, the familiar refrain. I was boring. I was holding her back. I didn't support her dreams. Her voice rose. Mine got quieter, until finally, she spat the words that detonated everything. You know what your problem is, Leo? You're weak. What are you going to do? Break up with me? Please. You're not man enough to leave me. You'd be lost without me. You have no spine. In that moment, something inside me snapped. Not loudly, but cleanly like a dry twig. She was right in a way. The man I'd been for 3 years, the conflict-avoidant pushover, had no spine. But that man had just dissolved. A slow smile spread across my face. Watch me, I said quietly. She laughed, dismissive. Yeah, okay. I'll be out with Megan this weekend, making plans with ambitious people. Try not to hurt yourself, painting your little space elves. She grabbed her purse and slammed the door. And just like that, she gave me 48 hours of freedom. My response wasn't an argument. It was a project plan. Housing. I applied for a downtown loft I'd been eyeing for months. Within an hour, the lease was signed, deposit paid, from the savings she resented. Moving. I booked a discreet moving company for Saturday morning. Speed and quiet were key. Inventory. I walked through the condo, tagging only what was unequivocally mine. Clothes, books, tech, cookware, my high-end espresso machine. The oak desk in my office, the so-called dork dungeon, was non-negotiable. Digital purge. Logged out of every shared device. Changed every password. Netflix, Prime, router, everything. Allies. Call my best friends, Ben and Chloe. Gave them the short version. Put them on notice I was going dark. They weren't surprised. They'd seen this coming. Legal. Drafted an email to my landlord. I gave 30-day notice, confirmed I'd pay the final month, and pointed out that I was the sole tenant on the lease. Cassie had no legal right to stay past notice. By Saturday afternoon, the movers had stripped my existence from that condo. I walked through one last time. Her clutter looked grotesque without my things to balance it, like a stage set after the actors have left. I placed my key on the counter. No note, no confrontation, just silence. The first few days in the loft were bliss. Silence, so thick it felt sacred. My oak desk glowed against exposed brick. I blocked her number. Sunday night, the storm began. 10:17 p.m. Email subject. Leo, where are you? All your stuff is gone. Is this a joke? Call me. By Monday, her emails were full of complaints. The espresso machine was gone. Netflix didn't work. The Wi-Fi was down, it wasn't. Her Prime shows had vanished. By Tuesday, panic. Leo, what the hell did you do? There is a 30-day notice to vacate on the door. You can't do that. Where are we supposed to live? Fix this now. My mess, right? I made a folder. Dragged every email there. Unread. Cassie didn't just want me. She wanted the story. The image. So when she couldn't reach me, she pivoted. She started telling friends I had abandoned her. No explanation, just vanished. Her friend Megan amplified the tale in group chats. Poor Cassie, left by her unstable boyfriend. Enter Chloe. With my permission, she corrected the record. Cassie told Leo he wasn't man enough to leave. He decided to prove her wrong. He's asked for no contact. Boom. Narrative collapsed. Within an hour, that got back to Cassie. A new email appeared. You coward. You humiliated me. You left me with an eviction notice. You owe me. No grief. No sadness. Just fury that she'd lost control. She escalated. First came her mom, Diana, calling from an unknown number. Leo. Honey, Cassie is wrecked. You can't abandon her. You'll make her homeless. You owe her. I shut that down. With all due respect, Diana, the relationship is over. I've paid rent for the notice period. She has time to find something else. Please don't call again. Blocked. Next came vague social media posts. Black and white selfies, captions about betrayal. Her trying to win sympathy while I posted a photo of myself genuinely laughing with friends. The contrast was devastating for her. The final gambit was the cruelest. A text from an unknown number. It's Cassie. I think you accidentally packed my grandfather's antique music box. It's the only thing I have of his. Please let me come look. She thought she was clever. Except she once told me she had nothing of her grandfather's. He died when she was a toddler. Checkmate. I responded with an email. Given the alleged value, I recommend filing a police report. I will fully cooperate with law enforcement. This is my final communication. Any further contact will be treated as harassment. Silence. She couldn't file a police report for an imaginary item. Her own trap had sprung shut. 6 months have passed. The silence has been glorious. Cassie burned through her options quickly. She clung to the condo until the last minute, convinced I'd swoop in to save her. I didn't. She had to sell most of her things, including the sofa I left behind, just to afford storage. She crashed with Megan. That lasted 2 months before her entitlement drove Megan insane. After that, she limped back to her hometown, back to her parents' house, back to her childhood bedroom. She works part-time retail now. Her social media is a bitter shrine to victimhood. Cryptic posts about fake friends and cruel men. No reflection. No growth. Still the heroine in her own tragedy. But in our old circle, she's a punchline. You're not man enough to leave me became legend. A cautionary tale. And me? My loft is a sanctuary. My oak desk sits in sunlight every morning. My miniatures, my plastic army men, have won awards at local competitions. I've reconnected with friends. I'm dating someone new, someone who finds my passions charming, not pathetic. The sweetest revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't explosive. It was quiet, methodical. It was the silence of my exit, the calm finality of my email, the undeniable peace of the life I rebuilt. Cassie thought my kindness was weakness, that my stability was dependence. She thought I had no spine. She was wrong. Every evening, when I sit at my oak desk, I feel it. My spine, stronger than ever.